Hey there, it's Robert at the Sampleist, and today we'll be checking out Cinestrings Pro by Cinesamples by way of Musio. Cinestrings Pro is the long-awaited and much-anticipated string library that is the next installment after Cinestrings Core. It includes the full string section in their own groups as well as full ensemble patches. One thing to keep in mind is that the violin patches are made up of both the first and second violins that were recorded together. It also is considered to be a more intimate library with a smaller string section that was recorded compared to Cinestrings Core. Cinestrings Pro has 43 patches and runs on the Musio engine. However, the Musio site does not detail the download specs for the library itself, but it does go over the system requirements for using Musio as a whole. At the moment, Cinestrings Pro is a Musio exclusive, and to get it, you'll have to pay either the monthly cost, which is $9.99 per month, or $99 per year, or, if you think you'll be in it for the long haul, $999 for the lifetime license, and this is all in US dollars. In terms of the system requirements for Musio itself, you'll need, for Apple, the Mac OS 10.14 or later, and for Windows, you'll need Windows 10 or later with an Intel i5 7K or AMD Ryzen 5 or higher processor. In terms of memory and hard drive space, the recommended numbers for that are 250 gigabytes of hard drive space along with 8 gigabytes of RAM. In this video, we'll be going through some of the patches of Cinestrings Pro, do an overview of the library, and a composition where we'll hear this intimately beautiful library in context. I'm looking forward to going through this with you, so let's get after it. Before we start diving into the overview, I do need to state that Cinesamples are in no way influencing my thoughts and opinions on the library, and the developer has had no input or previous visibility into the video before we put it out. With that being said, let's keep going. Alright, so here we are with Cinestrings Pro open. As I play through these, it's all going to be using their reverb that comes with it. And at some point in the end, I will play some of them again, some of these patches again without the reverb, so you can hear how it sounds without it. So let's go right into it, because there's a lot to cover. So we have the sustains for the whole string ensemble. Sounds really cool. Sounds really cool. All right, so let's go to the sustain octave. Sounds cool, that whole force. All right, let's go check out the clusters here. So it looks like the purple notes, the C, are sustains, the D's are the shorts, and then the reds are sustains. I mean crescendo, sorry, not sustains. I meant swells. Next, let's do the tune. playing this makes me just want to cough and mess around with some candy wrapper or something. Because that's what I'm used to hearing in orchestral concerts when there's the tuning. All right, let's go to the violins. Let's do the fingered legato appassionata. I think this sounds beautiful. And when I play quickly, it really responds well. Plays really well, no real lag, at least to me. Let's do the bow legato in comparison. Since it's bowed, there's more of that attack every time a note's played. So it's good, probably a good idea to have both of these open in separate tracks so that way you can go back and forth. That you can get your fingered legatos in so it sounds smoother than the bowed, but it still responds very well. Really nice sound. All right, so let's go into the sustains here. Let's do the consordino. Sounds very lush. Consordino can sometimes, to me, sound a little edgy with a more nasally sound. In this case, it's very lush. You hear that it's sort of consordino, but man, does it sound pretty. All right, let's see here. Let's go to the staccatos. It's not your typical spiccato or your hard staccato or anything. It's more longer, more soft, more gentler. I'm not sure if that's a word. It's more gentle. Very nice, more delicate sound. Let's do the sul tasto staccato. Sounds really nice. All right, let's do the tenuto real quick. Really nice. Keep having to play notes repeatedly, but you don't want it more staccato-y or more accented. Good way to go. Let's have a listen to the aleatoric runs. Man, that sounds good. Whoops. All right, next. Let's do the Penderecki. Cool. Cool physical sound of some striking going on. Some very hard, plucky sounds. Let's see here. Let's do the viola appassionata. Now, normally for me, violas sound pretty nasally. They stick out, and I've always been told that they stick out a lot when I went to school. I was told when writing for orchestra and strings, violas really stick out like a sore thumb. Prepare to EQ them. But let's play this real quick, and you'll see that might not be the case for this library. To me, it doesn't sound as nasally as violas usually sound. I think this really blends well with the rest of the patches here and would blend with any type of string library that you have, because I know a lot of people like to use different string libraries to have a different type of sound. I think this is a great sound. Very cool. Let's go to the soltasto. You'll hear me say later in the video that soltasto is my favorite articulation for strings. And the viola patch for this is great, for me at least. Very well done. Very well done. Some viola tenuto. Very vibrato-y, very dramatic sounding. Let's open their staccatos. This one to me has more of a bite to it than the violin staccatos. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm hearing. And I really like it, especially in contrast to the violin staccato. Real quick. Let's play them together. Not the best demonstration, but you can hear that there's a little more bite, and I really like it. Next, let us do the cello, Bode Appassionata. Sorry. English is not my strong suit. Nice sound there. Very nice. It all responds very well. That's something about this library that I really enjoy. Let's do the fingered legato. There was a tiny bit of lag, but not that bad. There is one point where it sounded sloppy. I wouldn't blame the library here. That was more me. I'm not the best on piano. Celli soltasto, you'll hear that later too. If I ever want to write something atmospheric or ethereal, that's the word, ethereal, and use strings, I'm definitely going to be using this library, all soltasto, and then I'm going to feel like I'm in a nice, fuzzy, warm blanket doing it. It'll be great. Next. Staccato. Still has that longer hold. So yeah, no spiccato. Don't expect that here. It's an actual staccato. Let's go back and do the celli consordino. I'm so sorry. I should have done that first before the staccato. Nice sound. There is more edge, and I think it works very well. It works to the celli's benefit. Let us do this one. That little shift in the volume was me playing with the mod wheel there. Sometimes when I load a patch here, it'll think I'm in the middle of the mod wheel, but then when I move it, it realizes I'm at a different point, so it'll sound sudden. So I'll be sure to move the mod wheel before we keep going. How about some appassionata low octave from the basses? Let's do that. And here we go. Nice. Very growly sound. It still has that somewhat intimate feel. Let's try the soltasto, and you'll notice that more notes have been added. If it says low octave in the parentheses, it means low. This is really cool to me because if I want to have something that's very low, but it's still more in the background, just something you feel, I could open this and it's not me using a synth. If I'm doing something orchestral, I want that low feel in the background. I could just pop this in there and just let the bass frequencies really sing here. Let's see here. Something I did not do. is do this without reverb. So let's do that. Let's get the fingered legato from the violins out. We can get out of this menu for a second. We can go to instrument. Let's bypass it. But first, let's play it with the legato. Oops, sorry. Still in the bass range. Let's bypass it. Sounds pretty dry to me. I really like that. I use my own reverb, so for me that works. Let's do a tenuto. It might not sound as lush right now, but if you put it in a good reverb, it's going to sound really good. Let's do what I was talking about before with the violas, their saltasto. Sorry, that's their tenuto. For me, whenever I go through a menu like this, I always end up getting messed up seeing viola and thinking violin. So here we are. In a way, I prefer this without the reverb. To me, it just sounds less muddy. I'm not saying that it's normally muddy, but for me, it just sounds like there's more room to play with here. It's clear, a little clearer. And I think this is something that helps when you bypass it. So yeah, that's it for this part of the video. On to the UI part, which will be very short, I promise. All right, so let's check out the UI for Musio real quick. And for Cinestrings Pro as a whole. So you can go to Explore or Catalog. It has it right here, or you can type in Cinestrings Pro or whatever thing you can think of, like strings or sustain, whatnot. We have this here, so let's open that. We have all this here. You can download the patches, and you'll have to set up where you want those to download. And once that's done, you just press load, and it'll all load up. Let's open this one. There it is. And it tells you how big it is if you haven't downloaded it yet. I also like how it tells you what the RAM usage is and stuff. Pretty nice there. You have your mod wheel over here, pitch bend. And then let's get out of this Explore window. Let's go into the instrument window. This, for me, works really well. So you can adjust the release. Let's just toy around with that. Let's play how it is right now. As if it's kind of dry, but yet not because of the reverb is on. You kind of just have a sudden stop. Just have it decay a lot longer. Just go back to default. And just the curve of the release too. Let's go back to all the way long. Yeah, you can tell a difference as you adjust all that. All right, so you see the expression here, but does the mod wheel work? It does. And you'll see it goes all the way down. Still some juice left. If you put the expression down, it's all quiet. You can easily change things here. Assign the CC. Pretty nice. You see me go here and adjust the bypass switch. You can bypass the whole reverb. And then you can adjust the reverb. You can adjust the length of the decay, the amount of damping, and then how much wet signal is coming out, and how much dry. Let's just turn off the dry for fun. Sounds so far away. Let's bring the wet to 100. Sounds pretty good with that reverb all the way up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You can assign the CC command, the CC for that. Can't assign one to the bypass. Totally get that. For here, you can press the cog, minute instrument feedback. You can change which channel, which input output coming out. I think that's more the output, sorry. Then you have the input channel, your mute, your solo, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I know that they've been working on key switching and whatnot. I will look into that again at some point. I am not big on key switching. I like having my own tracks individually, but I know some people really like key switching, and in some cases I do it too, but that's for very rare cases. So yeah, that does it for the interface here. It's really easy to use, very user-friendly, very straightforward, and it all works well. All right, so here we are. The track's name is called Flashbacks. And if you look at the file name at the top, it says B World, because this is from a scene from a short film I did this year. And it was a really very nice quality short film, sci-fi. And crazy enough, it was a student film. They did a great job on this. It's more sci-fi based, like I said. And when I was thinking of something to write that would really show that intimacy that I think Cinestrings Pro can bring, this kept coming up in my head. So I thought, why not? And so I just brought it up, and it worked so well that I had to do it. But you'll see that this is my old template here, my old orchestral template. I'm updating it now to add Cinestrings Pro because I do like it that much for the lush sound. So let's get started. The first instrument we'll go over is the first violins. And I have them doing the fingered legato appassionato. I like going back and forth between soloing it and playing it in context. So you hear what it's really like in both arenas, I guess. I'm going to skip ahead so we get to this more emotional, raw part here. I think really brings out that appassionata. I think that sounds so good. Let's just hear it on its own. Really nice. So something I should mention here, I have a little bit of EQ, but I also have this template set up. So this bus here, when I lower the fader, when I bring it down, it makes it sound like my strings will be further back in the mix. So just keep that in mind as I go through the rest of it. The next one will be my favorite string articulation when it comes to samples, at least, sol tasto. I use it a lot. I use it in almost every project in some way, shape, or form when it comes to films. I've even used it in some trailer writing, and I plan to use it more in trailer writing if I want more stringy, lush, emotional intros and such. So let's go over this. This is more the melody of the track. I really think it's nice and lush. I think it really brings out that raw emotion. This scene in the film is a scene where there is a car crash. And so this is a very raw scene, very emotional. So yeah, I really think Sol Tasto is a great articulation to bring that out. All right, let's go here. Second violins. Well, for me, I have it as second violins, but as I said in the intro, the violin patches are first and seconds together. This is the sustained consordino. Normally with concertino string patches, the strings can sound more nasally or a bit edgy, like have a little edge to the sound. Here it just sounds beautiful. It sounds very well mixed together. I do have some EQ, like I said before, but it's not much at all. It sounds great. Next, the violas, some more soltasto, and for viola patches, this is probably one of my favorite viola patches for string libraries. And you'll notice, if you look to your left, I turned off the EQ for this. I thought it sounded great as it was. And for me to say that about viola is a big deal, because for me, normally violas just stick out too much, way too much. I'm sorry to my violist friends and whatnot, but they just do. And this to me just sounds beautiful for a viola. I'm going to use this a lot. Usually I just use low violins, but I think I'll be putting violas to good use from now on here. Next will be the cello. I love cello. This is a really nice cello patch. It's another soltasto. For me, it feels like I have a little bit of a blanket around me from the warmth of this patch. All right, now last, I believe, yes, last will be the basses. Also soltasto, but in this case, I could have used the longs. I could use I used other sustain type patches, but this really finishes off that blanket feeling I'm thinking about when it comes to having that thicker feel in the mix. It's such a great sound. Something I should point out, you probably noticed this as I went through the different instruments here. I have the reverbs all bypassed. Now, you're probably wondering why they're bypassed, and that's because I like to turn off all the reverbs and just have everything go through my own, because I like to mix libraries here and there. And in this case, when I put Musio in my template, it will be playing with other string libraries. Here and there, like depending on what type of articulation. So the sound as it is amazing. Even with the reverb in there, it sounds great. It's just my own personal preference. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this library has that type of drama that I strive to find in a library. I'm so happy they did this. This is such a great job when it comes to this type of music, this type of writing. And I'm going to be using it a lot. So my final thoughts on Cinestrings Pro is that it's a really nice addition to what we have for Cinestrings Core, and is a more lush and more emotional and beautiful aspect for the Cinesamples catalog as a whole. There's a lot of libraries that try to do more emotive strings, emotional, more raw, and some do a good job, some better than others. However, I think the good people at Cinesamples did an awesome job on this. I will be using this a lot. This will be in my template. It'll be replacing some things that I currently have. And the fact that it doesn't use as much RAM as I thought it would, really for me it's a big deal, because some of the libraries I use currently use a lot of RAM. So that's something to keep in mind when looking through different string libraries, brass libraries, and so on. So yeah, great library, so much to go with for that. It's not going to be something that's going to be epic and in your face, but for that rich Hollywood sound that's more emotional, more dramatic, this is a great place to start for strings. So I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe to the Sampleist. By all means, please tell me what you think of the library itself. How would you use Cinesamples Pro? What genres do you think it would be good for? Even think about, I guess, how you would approach the composition differently. I'm always open to seeing what people think about it, and in my mind, thinking that way, trying to think of what could be different, can help people think of what their own sound would be. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. Happy writing!